Hey everybody, and welcome to a Tatter-a-fact here at the Girls Inc. studio in Las Vegas. And today I'm super stoked. I have another local artist, teacher, mentor, speaker, you name it. She does it. And I'm super excited to have you here. Welcome, Brittany Wagner.
Woo!
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. This is great.
I think most people know you by Ink by Britt.
Yes, people will walk into my studio and call me Ink by Britt. It's not even Britt or Brittany anymore. It's Ink by Britt.
Hi, Ink by Britt.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Ink by Britt. I'm here for my 1 o'clock. That's so funny. Do you prefer Brittany or Britt?
I never went by Britt until I moved to Vegas.
Really?
And now I prefer Britt.
So what was it about Vegas?
I don't know. I think just because I shortened it to Ink by Britt, just really for Instagram purposes, social media purposes. But it stuck, and I thought that's kind of cute. So now it's Britt.
That's awesome. So you and I met. So you've been in. So first, let's backtrack a little bit. You've been in Vegas how long?
Almost 8 years.
Almost 8 years, and you came from Reno.
Yep.
You were up in Reno doing PMU up there for how many years?
10.
So you were
almost 11.
So you were almost 11 years doing PMU up in Reno.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the nickname for that city? There's a cute little nickname for that city. Oh man.
The smallest little city?
Maybe is that it? The smallest little city?
Biggest little city?
The biggest little something like that. Yeah. I've been there once.
Yeah.
Once.
It's great. You need to go to Lake Tahoe. You need to take Kat to
Lake Tahoe. I've been there
Yes,
once.
that place is fabulous.
But it was so many years ago. But no, I remember being like magical. I remember like getting like really emotional because it was so pretty. Like sometimes being in nature, I can get emotional.
Yes. People travel the world to get there because it is that fantastic.
Yeah. Like when the world gets crazy, and gets insane. When you go into nature, I quad. So we get to go to the Paiute trails and we really get into nature. I mean, deep into nature. And I think it reminds you how beautiful the world really is and how precious it is and how lucky we are to be here,
Absolutely. It makes you slow down.
It makes you slow down. It's really healing. It's really good for me to get out into nature. Probably you too, because of the pace of our career and our work schedules. So if you were doing PMU in Reno for almost 11, you've been in Vegas 8, so almost 19 years you've been doing PMU. That's correct?
Yep.
Wow. So I'm 22 years this year. So we're right there with each other.
Yep.
Wow. So what made you come to Vegas?
My husband's job brought us here.
Your husband's job. Yeah.
So that's why we came to Vegas. And I wanted to take a little break from permanent makeup when we moved, but I had people already reaching out.
Wow.
And so I thought, okay, I guess I'll go work a half day a week. I was working a half day on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And within 6 months, I was full time and people were asking me to train. Things changed immediately.
So you were meant to be here.
Yeah. This place has been so great to me.
Yeah.
I think Vegas is great.
I feel the same way. I love it. I think you either like or dislike Vegas. I don't think there's that in between.
I agree.
Do you agree? Right?
Yeah.
And I came here from Maine, so it was a real culture shock.
I was born in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yep.
So we met in Scottsdale, the Scottsdale conference a couple weeks ago. It was the first time you and I ever met.
Yes.
I know.
It was so great.
It was really
Long
great.
overdue.
Long overdue. I get a little, this is something some people may not know about me, but I am super friendly and I'm outgoing and I'm warm and I love meeting people, but I do get nervous meeting local artists, especially if they're local artists that have really built something, beautiful, big, and they've got, I get nervous. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why, but I get a little nervous. Yeah. I guess maybe because you never know how they're going to, I've been met before with, the other person feeling, maybe there's a competition thing. I've met people before where maybe I felt there was a little, they were a little guarded. And I never go, so maybe that jaded me a little bit. Maybe that's what makes me a little, not jaded, but I think maybe that's what makes me a little bit nervous.
I can understand that for
sure.
Yeah.
But when you and I, so they held a speaker dinner, and you and I happened to be sitting, we sat down next to each other, not knowing each other.
Yep.
And introduce ourselves, and that was it.
Yep, we hit it off immediately.
You stopped talking to Jake. He got the back.
No, I was like,
Jake Randolph was there, and you were like, see ya, bye, Jake.
Yeah. Hey, Taryn.
I know, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And then we just sat there and like yacked.
Yes. Yeah, the night was not long enough.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. And I remember going up to the hotel room and telling Kat, Rosie was there. Yes. She was sitting at the other end, so I didn't get to. It was almost like I had to scream to her to like have a conversation. But me and Kat went up to the room and was like, okay, they're different.
Yes.
They're cool.
We said the same thing. We had the same combo.
Yeah. I wanted to keep talking to you.
Yep.
I wanted to keep talking to you. So I love it when that happens. And when that happens, I make it a point to reach out, and develop, see if a relationship can develop, right? Because I think relationships in PMU are rare, especially really good ones.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I crave them. I don't know about you, but I do crave them.
Yes, I feel like our job is so unique.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah,
to have relationships within permanent makeup world.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody else outside of PMU can really understand, like, what you do, like what we really do in a day, and the responsibility that we take on.
And we take it so serious and so personal.
Super.
So you have to have that camaraderie.
Yeah. And it's hard to find, I think.
Yep.
Lots of acquaintances, lots of colleagues, but like a real true meaningful relationship that can develop into friendship, that's, that's rare. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't feel like I had any permanent makeup friends in the industry till just a few years ago. Really? And it was very lonely.
Yeah, it can be super lonely. I have a few too. I really do. Like Mary Richardson's a really good friend of mine. I'm lucky I have a few too. So, yeah. So maybe this is the start of like a really like a good friendship. So I'm really excited.
Did we just become best friends?
I don't know. Did we just do that on the pod? It's so corny. We're so corny. I know, but yeah, I love it. So thank you for coming down here today. Were you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're a little nervous,
but not. I was more excited than nervous.
Yeah,
but there's always a little twinge of like, nervousness, right?
Yeah,
but definitely more excited. I'm excited because I feel like you and I hit it off.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see you again, really.
Yeah, me too.
And see your place. I didn't realize how great your studio was.
Oh, thank you.
It's ginormous.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You'll have to have me up to your studio.
Yeah,
for sure.
That.
Have me over for dinner.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I love that. Are you a good cook?
I'm okay.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I'm not bad at all.
What's your best dish that you make?
I'm really good at just like grilling steaks.
A ribeye. Okay, mm-hmm. I think me and Rosie talked about this. Yeah,
Rosie and I are steak connoisseurs.
Yeah, I am too. Me and Kat are too.
Yes.
Yeah,
so.
I try not to eat too much, to be healthy, and limit like my monthly steak intake. But no, I love a good ribeye.
Yeah. That's what I'd love to do after a training, actually.
Yeah, go have a ribeye.
Yep, go to a steakhouse. That's like my thing.
And then what's your cocktail of choice?
Ooh,
like with the ribeye.
Ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Most people kind of like red wine, but I'm like a martini.
Yeah,
like a good vodka cold martini.
Right.
Yeah. I film them and put them on my stories all the time.
Yeah, people love it.
I love it. Okay, so here we are, 19 years. So let me ask you, 19 years in, at this point, what's your favorite procedure?
Ooh, my favorite procedure would probably be lip blush.
Okay, so that's what you spoke at at the conference.
Yep.
Okay, so before we dive into your lip brush technique and why you like it so much, your lecture was really good.
Thank you.
At the conference. Were you nervous?
Very nervous.
Was that your
I would
first?
Say I was very nervous.
You were very nervous. Mm-hmm. Was that your first lecture?
Yes.
I
spoke at a smaller one before.
Okay.
I was surprised at how nervous I was.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy speaking.
Yeah.
And I speak almost every day in front of my apprentices.
Right.
So I was actually very surprised with myself. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was a very big learning experience for me. That was my huge takeaway.
Okay.
So it was valuable for me.
So what did you learn? What was the big takeaway?
I think maybe to ask more questions.
Mm-hmm.
To self-advocate a little bit more.
Like ask your audience more questions?
No, I think
ask the conference owner more questions.
Yes.
On
like, if people can't hear me, I need a new microphone.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Right. Things like that.
There were some technical difficulties at the conference.
I was the first speaker of the day, which I was really excited for, but that also is hard.
Yeah.
They had made a comment, we're going to start you in a few minutes. We're going to wait for a few more people to be here.
Yeah.
But then the MC called my name.
Right. So, yeah.
So I walked right up, but I should have said, I shouldn't have walked up.
Yeah.
I should have said, no, we're going to wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned. It was a good learning experience.
It is a good learning experience. It is. I don't know how many times I've lectured. It's just too many to count. Like all over the place. It's been great, and some experiences, or every experience, every time, even though you had a little bit of technical difficulties, you didn't quite get an introduction per se.
Yeah.
So even though that happened, the fact that you got to be on stage and connect with an audience.
That was fantastic.
Right. That part is always fantastic. Yes. No matter what else goes on before you get on there or after you get off the stage or with your microphone or whatnot. It's the time that you're on that stage and you're connecting and vibing and speaking to the audience, those there that are in the seats. So yeah, I've had lots of technical difficulties over the years, and it is a learning experience, Brittany, because you do have to ask more questions. You have to ask a lot of questions.
Yep. And it's okay to pause.
Yes.
Right? I felt like I just needed to keep going, and so I did.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine for me to say, we're going to wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It wouldn't have been a big deal.
You were still great up there.
Thank you.
But I think when things go wrong, even like a seasoned speaker like me, when things go wrong, it can rattle you.
Yeah.
It can throw you off your game, and it can rattle you a little bit. You know, I've certainly have had that happen. I was in Miami right before COVID hit, and I was doing a live eyeliner on stage. And
that's nerve-wracking too. A
very
live demo.
Nerve-wracking, yeah. But there's something so damn exciting about it. But it's nerve-wracking. I don't sleep for like 3 days. You're just like, oh my God, I hope the skin's good. I hope this is good. You know, and they put me on such a small stage, my chair like almost rolled right off the stage. It's like good thing I lifted my ass up like in the nick of time. So it like that rattled me for a minute. Yeah. So, you know, and then you just have to breathe. You have to get back in the game like really super quick.
Yeah.
Because you've got, you know, a bunch of people sitting there staring at you.
Yes. Right.
Waiting for the show to go on. But no, I thought you did fantastic. I enjoyed your lecture, and you didn't show that it rattled you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good. I tried to keep going, you know? Yeah.
And you know what I've learned too? I've learned that the audience, they're so forgiving. Every conference I've ever been to over the years, when you get on that stage, what I have found is they're rooting for you.
Yes. People were so fantastic
and
so kind. I had so many people, even during the presentation, ask questions. They were involved.
Yeah.
Afterwards, grab me, say they enjoyed it. They learned something, which really is the takeaway, right? Hopefully they learned something.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, it ended up being fabulous, and I was really, really thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah. And
I got to meet you, Taryn.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm excited for you. You know, once you get your first one under your belt, it's like then the next one's better.
Yeah,
the next
ready.
One's better, and you get more and more and more prepared. You know. But I love it. It was a great crowd there, and I had a ball too. So
do you, when you speak at conferences, do you already have stuff prepared, or do you find that you're tweaking it just a little bit before you go? You're going over it again?
Yeah, I tweak it and adjust it for that moment in time, like with what's going on in the industry, and for maybe the type of crowd. Like sometimes you go to conferences and there are definitely more newbies in the audience. You know, sometimes you go and there's more intermediate to veterans. Okay. So it kind of like depends. And I don't like to give the same presentation twice, even if it's an eyeliner. Like I can give my needle lecture 5 times, but it's going to be a little different every time. I'm going to like adjust some slides. I'm going to change some things up. It's going to be a little different every time. So I don't. Yeah, I like to keep things fresh.
Yeah.
And I almost think of it as a show. Like we're going on there to entertain. I mean to educate. 100%. That's, you know, they spend a lot of money on the conference ticket, the plane ticket, the hotel. So we're there to educate. That's why they buy those tickets, along with a little girl party. I mean,
definitely.
Right? A lot of them go just to get away from the husbands and kids for a while. Right. Let's be honest. Yep. Yeah, but they're there for the education, but as a speaker responsibility, yes, we got to bring the education, but I also think it's got to be highly visual. The visuals have to be good. We have to be entertaining. We can't be drab.
Absolutely.
The way we speak.
My husband works for an asphalt company, and so I went to his conference for his company in January, and I was taking all kinds of notes, right?
Right.
And my biggest takeaway was don't be that boring person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Don't be that. But right. You're like, your voice should kind of fluctuate up and down. Have a little fun with the audience. And I guess the big thing is enjoy yourself up there. Enjoy yourself up there. I throw a few F-bombs throughout. I can't help it.
Yeah. No, yours is fantastic.
It's just me. Even on here, I say fuck every now and then, and it's like, I'm so sorry, pardon my French, but
it makes you human. You're real.
Yeah, even on stage, 3 or 4. If I'm speaking for an hour, expect 2 or 3 F-bombs to come out here and there. It's just, they're unpredictable. They just come, and I can't help it, but it's just the way it is. But yeah, I love it. So you're going to speak again?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hope to.
Yeah. I think you ought to. So it's great. How long did you prep? How long did you prepare for this, 45-minute lecture?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How many months, Brittany? Because it's usually months.
It was probably 7 months. I think since the day that Kelly asked me is when at least I was always on my brain, right? Mm-hmm. I probably didn't get really serious till about 4 months before sitting at my computer. Yeah. But for those first 3 months prior, it was always on my brain. I was putting things together chronologically in my head. Yeah. What were the important things to speak on? Right. What things could be left out?
Yeah. And you got to get your timing down.
Yes.
Because, with some, Kelly was a little generous in letting, if you went over a little bit, it was okay. Yeah. But there are some conferences you go to, oh, hell no. It's like you are done at 1.
They say
you
you're
are
done.
off the stage at 1.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, super strict about your timing. So you almost have to practice your lecture a little bit.
Do you like that or prefer that?
I don't prefer that. It's a little stressful, but I respect it. Yeah. I understand it. I did my own conferences, America the Beautiful. So I understand the importance of staying on time throughout the day. So I absolutely respect those strict boundaries. They just put more pressure and stress on the speaker because you got to make sure you get through your whole lecture in 45 minutes. Yeah. And you don't want to leave anything on the table. Right? Yeah. Or you don't want to get to 10 minutes and you're like, holy shit, I got a whole half hour left of stuff.
There better be 500 questions.
Yeah. And now you start talking a mile a minute just to get it all out. So, but it's easier on us if the speaker's like, yeah, if you go over 10, 50 minutes, that's okay. It's like, whew, okay, a little less pressure. Yeah. So I've been in both situations, and I prefer a little leeway with the time. Okay. But I totally respect why a lot of conference owners don't give it. Yeah, they're super strict. Yeah. So, but anyway. All right, so back to your favorite procedure, lips. So did that happen to be the first procedure you felt you were really good at? No.
It was brows.
Yeah,
and even my instructor at the time said, which service do you love? And I remember saying brows, which is funny because now I think it's one of the harder ones. Yeah. Because of the mapping and things like that that have come into play. But I remember saying, I love brows. Yeah. And brows is what I loved immediately, which is funny. I think it's always changing, though. I'm always changing what I love. Right. Yeah. Or sometimes brows are my favorite. Sometimes eyeliner is my favorite. Sometimes lips are my favorite.
Yeah. So lips, okay. Okay. What is it? Not everybody loves lips.
I love lips.
What is it about lips that you like so much?
That it's colorful.
Yeah, right. We get to get out of the boring browns
Yep.
and neutral tones and have fun.
Really fun colors. Yeah. Most people sit up immediately are in love with lips. Where sometimes with the eyeliner, they're swollen, they're puffy, they're red. Brows, same thing. Right. And even if there is swelling with the lips, they love it. They're like, they think they're sexy immediately, right? They're like feeling themselves. Filler. Yeah. So I think that's what I love about it is clients sit up and they immediately are like, ooh, I like this.
They like it right away. So so what needle do you use for your lips?
I use a 1 round liner.
You're a single needle girl.
I was trained on a 5 round liner. The last few years I've dropped down to a 1. Yeah.
And I'm shocked because you're like old school like me. You've been doing this as long as me, and you're a single needle girl. Yeah. So that's fun. I started a lip one time with a single needle. And I was like,
not for me.
I'm like, oh hell no, it's gonna take me all day. So I'm an 11 mag.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm an 11 mag.
That's awesome.
So I really enjoy the mag, but I have a couple artists here that do lips with a single needle. Yeah. So I respect somebody. You know what, Brittany, I'm the type of artist that I respect difference. I respect the uniqueness of each artist. And to me, it doesn't matter what needle you use or your technique or your pigment line. That none of that ever has mattered to me. It's the end result, so.
Well, that's what makes teaching interesting.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to have a different style,
right,
or something that they're drawn to more than something else.
Exactly.
So I can give my students like all kinds of different tools, but they might all end up picking something different.
Right. And not everybody's going to be good with the single.
Right.
And they might be better with, a larger shader. They might be better with a mag. And certainly not everybody is good with a mag. One artist in particular, Michonne, I started her on a mag maybe 8 years ago. And she was getting dark spots in her lips at first. It was causing her not to like lips. And took the 11 mag out. But Amber did excellent with the 11 mag.
Yeah.
And so we put a 14-round shader in her hand. And her lip game changed just like that. So I think it's important you do apprenticeship programs like I do, which we're going to talk in a minute, to recognize if one of your artists that you're mentoring is struggling with a needle. Don't you think it's like our responsibility to kind of recognize that and then maybe put a different needle configuration in their hand and see if, that's a better needle for them?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, try this.
Exactly. That's why I think it's important for artists to be versatile in their needles, in their their techniques.
Yeah.
Like you might be a single needle girl, but if I gave you a mag, could you sit down and do it? Right.
Absolutely.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yep.
And I think that's important.
Yes, you need to be a well-rounded artist.
A well-rounded artist.
That's why. Well, and I know this is probably subjective, but that's why I really like to teach brows, liner, lips in a fundamentals course, because you need to learn all different types of skin, needles.
Right.
And then you can specialize in something for sure, but
you
need to be a well-rounded artist that can pick up anything and execute.
Yeah, and I don't know about lips because I don't. I've done plenty of eyebrows, with the single needle. But my needle of choice, my favorite needle is the 7 or the 8 round shader. But when the whole industry got on to the single needle, I was fascinated, and I got onto it, and I wanted to master that ombre brow and the pixels, and then once I did, I was like, okay, I'm done with that. Back to my 7, 8 round shader. But I think with brows, is it the same with lips? With brows, some skin types really aren't a good candidate for that single needle. If they're super oily and their skin's resistance, like a single needle, you're just gonna...
Yes, especially if they have, I find sun damage or like a thicker lip.
Oh, yeah. So same thing with lips. Yep. So there's some lips where the single needle is just not going to be the best choice. You want to get into a larger...
I'll use a 5-round shader at that point, and I love that.
Right. So that's the biggeth needle that you go to.
I have used a 9 mag before.
Okay.
With lips.
All right. Do you use a mouth guard?
I don't.
You don't?
I was trained to use a mouth guard, though.
Yeah, I was too.
I don't.
I don't either. Yeah. I don't. It bugs me.
Yeah, me too. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
I feel like I get like a almost too hard of a stretch. Maybe I don't know what the right word is, but
I think only a couple of times have I pulled one out. It's because sometimes when if it's an older lip, especially if you stretch, you almost get like a valley or a dip in the lip that I can't get to punch back out, and I'll get a lip guard out. Yep. But other than that, I think maybe twice or 2 or 3 times in my career with lips, I got to look. So that's interesting. What else about lips? Is there anything you want anybody to know about lips?
They're so fun.
They're so fun.
Yeah. They're hard, though. They are. I think our job is hard. I don't care if it's a brow liner or lip. I think our job is hard.
Why do you think? Okay, so most of the industry is doing brow. Well, all of the not all. There are some artists that really don't do brows. I mean, they only do eyeliner or they only do lips. But the majority of the industry is doing brows. And hardly anyone's doing eyeliner these last few years. But I've seen lips and lip blush get really popular. Do you think lips have become more popular than eyeliner at this point? Because there was a time when lips were not popular in the industry. It was the least requested procedure.
Is it more popular than eyeliner? Ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah, right?
Maybe, but only slightly.
Yeah, maybe only slightly.
But maybe it's because I don't think there's not a lot of really good eyeliner technicians out there.
Why do you think that is?
It's hard.
It is hard.
You got to be really talented and motivated and work hard and not give up. I mean, there's so many. Yeah. Plus, then deal with your client's skin.
Yeah.
And if they have deep set eyes, or right?
Yeah,
there's so many things that go into it. So that's why I feel like maybe lips are a little bit more popular, is because it's not quite as hard. But it's all hard.
It's hard. Eyeliner's my favorite procedure.
I do love eyeliner. I love good eyeliner.
I do.
I tell all my clients, you have to be badass to get eyeliner, and you have to be badass to give eyeliner.
Yeah, I agree. You have to be really brave.
Yes, you do.
You have to be really brave. Because a lot can go wrong. You're working right around the eyeball. You got to control the eye from blinking. There, in movement. There's tearing. There's a lot going on.
I make all my students do lash liner in their training.
Yeah.
And a lot of them choose not to do any type of eyeliner afterwards. But I still make them, because 100% don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And there's always a small percent that go, I loved that.
Yeah. It was my first procedure that came in that I was good at, that I felt like.
That doesn't surprise me. Why does that not surprise me?
Yeah, I don't. Isn't that crazy? Because usually it's brows for people.
Yeah.
And I struggled with the symmetry. I struggled in the bulb area with brows for a while.
Yeah.
When I first started out all those years ago, that was like my nemesis. Is that bulb area, getting the shape, figuring out the shape, and how to get them really super symmetrical. Back then, there really wasn't mapping.
No. Do you know how I was taught to map? And I am not joking. It was 2 steps to the left, and 1 to the right, and 2 thumbs up. And I'm not even joking. And I look back and I'm like, that's how we map.
I think I might know who that was. I think we talked about her at the conference. Yep. That's hysterical. I can see that. That's hysterical.
And that is really how I was taught to
map. Well, back then there wasn't mapping.
No, there wasn't.
Everything was freehanded. Or used calipers. You'd freehand the brow on there. You just draw it.
Yep.
Most of us did. And then maybe you would get out calipers to like measure to make sure like you were right on the money. Nowadays, it's, string mapping, and there's all kinds of different ways to map and get your design on quick and symmetrical, which is, I think, a good thing. But I still really instill in my artists and my apprentices, I still want you to be able to freehand a brow.
Definitely.
I think it's important. Yes, you can use the string and go to your rulers and your measurement tools. That doesn't make you any less of an artist. Definitely use those. But I do force them to also freehand.
Well, it's just a guide. That's what I tell my apprentices. Yeah. I'm like, this is just a guide. You still need to be able to draw on an eyebrow, especially if you go to tattoo and you wipe your line off. You should be able to visually know how to draw on an eyebrow or tattoo an eyebrow still.
Yeah.
You're an artist.
Like see it. Well, in body tattooing, you don't tattoo if you can't draw.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like number one. And when when I was getting my body tattoo apprenticeship, I mean, I had to bring in my portfolio and show them my sketch work and all. I mean, they look at your portfolio. You have to draw in order to tattoo. So I'm kind of the mindset of that. You have to be able to draw a pair of eyebrows, freehand them on, in order to be a well-rounded, really good artist. Yeah. And it will, like I said, it could like save your ass maybe sometimes. I mean, you could
absolutely
lose your stencil.
Yeah.
Unless you're outlining it in with a single needle, which a lot of, artists are doing nowadays, are actually outlining that in, which I think is fine. I don't have no issue with that at all. I think whatever works, whatever gets you to an absolutely beautiful result for your client, that's your secret sauce.
Yep.
No matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are kind of, I don't know. I've heard some rude comments about the outlining and this and that. I'm like, I don't understand that. Yeah. It's like, but that's her secret sauce, and look how beautiful those brows are.
Yeah. And if it works for her.
And if it works for her, why is it wrong, or why is it not okay? We all have to find our way to achieving beautiful brows for all the different clients that come to us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just a little bit more liberal and open-minded with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
I do tell my apprentices though that they need to draw. I do tell them you need to draw.
Yeah.
And in my class, they draw eyebrows, they draw eyeliner, they draw lips. They are
100%. So let's. Lips was my hardest procedure.
Okay.
By the way.
Yeah.
So I'll tell my story with lips. I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I was decent with brows.
Real quick though, the world was so different even just 15 years ago, even 10 years ago.
Yeah. Imagine it 22 years ago when I started. Yeah. It was like, it was really different.
Yeah.
And I was here in Vegas, and all the PMU artists were like, 50. So they were older. They were older ladies that trained and learned back in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. And I came to town, and I was like tattooed and pierced. I was young. I was a body tattooer, and I stood out. And I wasn't that welcome, to be honest with you. I had a couple of ladies just not really enjoy my presence here. Yeah. And one was not really that nice to me at a conference we went to, and I really had a hard time understanding that. But I think, Brittany, it was because I was different. I think it was because, you know, I was doing soft bulbs. I was tattooing more like a tattooer. I was a little bit more artistic, and I could do some looks that maybe they couldn't do because they weren't taught that. That wasn't the standard in PMU.
Sometimes people are scared when they see something new or different.
Right.
Instead of being open-minded, they're scared.
Right. They're
and so
scared.
They're mean.
Right. Because for such a long time in our industry, it was block solid eyebrows. Yep. And that was it.
Yep.
You know, and then I remember here in the USA when hair strokes hit the scene, no one liked them. They looked like picket fences. And I think that was because they weren't really being done skillfully, right? They were did look like lines. But I can so remember that, I mean, if you did a hair stroke eyebrow 15, 20 years ago here in the US, I mean, you got ridiculed for it.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
I've got some pictures of my hair stroke eyebrows from 15 years ago, and I'm like, oh.
I know, right?
Wow, that was a really great pattern.
Yeah, we definitely all have work like that. But I think it's great. And look how far the hair strokes have come now, and how. And I think that's what I'm most excited for the PMU industry is the skill level, the artistic level, the creative level has grown leaps and bounds just in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's mind-blowing.
It's shocking how beautiful and skillful and artistic the work has become in our industry. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. There's still a lot of shit going on that, you know, bothers you and probably shouldn't be going on and whatnot, but I try not to focus on that.
Yeah.
Do you focus on that? Does that shit really piss you off, or are you just blinders on?
It makes me really, really sad for clients and consumers. It makes me really sad for them.
Yeah.
I don't know that I pay too much attention to it as far as the artists go. Yeah. Even though they shouldn't be doing it, it's totally reckless and it breaks my heart. But I feel like they'll weed themselves out. They typically do. Yeah. But I don't know. My heart hurts for the consumers who don't know any better. Yeah.
Me too. It's heartbreaking sometimes what you see. And some of the procedures, some of the types of procedures still being done in this industry. That a lot of us know don't age well and probably should not be performed anymore. Do you know? Breaks my heart too. But a long time ago, you know, I just kind of had, you know, just kind of came to the conclusions. Like, I don't want to be the industry I don't want to monitor the industry. Right. I don't want to police the industry. I don't want to be that person. Yeah. Although I have strong opinions and I'm really comfortable talking about my opinions.
There's positive ways to monitor it. And I don't even know if that's the right word. And this is the way to do it, right?
Dialogue.
Educate.
Conversation.
Educate. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's, in my mind, a better way to
100%
monitor it.
100%. And you're never going to clean up the entire, there's always going to be those reckless people out there that don't give a shit and don't listen. They don't want to listen, right? So they'll, in every industry, I think, every single industry. So, but I think we've come a long way. I'm proud of our industry. Super happy to be a part of it. Yeah, so let's talk about.
I interrupted you with your lip story. I wanted you to tell me your lip story.
So my lip story. Okay, so I was really good at eyeliner, and back in the day, I was doing a lot of like, you know, like sexy dancers and casino girls, and so wings. I got really good at wings and that really bold pinup eyeliner look, and I got really good with eyeliner. And then my brows did come in for me. So I was really good with brows and eyeliner. I was very good with areolas right away because of my body tattoo background. But those damn lips, man, I could not get pigment to stick. And it was taking me like 3 procedures. I was just struggling with lips, bleeding a lot on the first pass, probably why a lot of pigment loss. And I was training like within the industry. And this was years and years and years and years ago. And all I kept hearing was, well, it does take 3 or 4 times to get all the pigment in the lip. It's you know, that's normal, and, you know, that can't be corrected and whatnot. And then I was taught, I was using a 5 liner on lips. Back then, we used 2 needles, either a 3 or 5 liner. That was it. And so I had that's what I was using on the lip. And then it was my body mentor. And he put me in touch with a female body tattoo artist here in town. I went and hung out with her a couple of days, and an 11 mag. Yeah. And she's like, this is going to change everything. And then she taught me how to score the lips, how to get the lips to, control bleeding before you even do your first pass. So it was those two little nuggets. So getting to an 11 mag, obviously that was the needle for me.
Yeah.
The 5-liner wasn't working. And learning how to score those lips and control that bleeding before I even start my first pass. Those two things changed my whole lip game. And I remember my first lip with just those two new things that I put in place, a ton of color.
So exciting.
It was so exciting.
Yeah.
And then I was on a mission to kind of prove to the industry that no, it doesn't have to be 3 and 4 procedures for your brows, for your eyeliner, for lips, for you to get all the color retention you want. It doesn't have to be that long. If you jump up to bigger needles, if you change the way you move those needles, a certain pattern, if you focus on saturation, just changing up. I think at that point, Brittany, I started approaching my PMU procedures as I approached my body tattoo work. There wasn't this big gap and this huge difference between the two. And before then there was. It was like I separated them. Okay, this is body tattooing, and these are the needles I use for that. This is the way I move. And then PMU, different hat on. I use completely different needles because they're PMU needles.
Right.
I move this way because this is the way you move in PMU. And once I figured out, it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. It can be, it's skin.
Yeah. I feel like my game changed a little bit when I started asking body art tattooers their healing process. That's when it changed for me because it was so weird in our world. The way I would send my clients home to heal, it made no sense. And I kept thinking, this makes no sense. And I didn't have great retention. And, I was doing all kinds of troubleshooting. And the second that I asked body art tattooers what they were doing and I implemented what they were doing on the face, it was like a night and day difference.
Well, were you taught put a ton of A&D ointment right after the procedure.
Yep, and not even wash, just keep applying.
Exactly. That's the way
Can
I
you
was
believe
taught.
that?
No, I was getting, I was having complications with stuff.
Yep.
And same thing, first of all, I got off the A&D and then change let the area breathe and weep for a day or two. It's same thing. Your aftercare can make all the difference.
Yeah.
There's so many
factors
and outside variables, so many moving parts, that all have to be in alignment and come together perfectly for us to get that color retention that we're all chasing, right? Yep. We're all chasing amazing color retention and tone with every single procedure and every single client we do. That's the obsession. Is that the obsession?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, right? Because we were just talking earlier.
Send me pictures I want to see. Come to me. Yes.
Yeah,
obsessed. Yep.
We're obsessed with this industry and the craft and the healed result. I know. I don't know. I love it. I love talking to people that are so obsessed with the craft too.
I love it.
So let's how long have we been going, Willow?
38 minutes.
Yeah, how you doing up there in the captain's chair?
I'm doing well, I think.
Are you?
Yeah.
So usually we have Olivia. It's Olivia and Willow. And Olivia's in the captain's chair, but Olivia's on vacation.
All right.
Yeah, so she's the one who does the camera angles and does all that. And Willow has her own role. She sits down over there and she does this and that and that. So Willow's are you doing both roles or are you just like, fuck my role? I can barely handle Olivia's. I mean,
I'm doing a little bit of my role.
are you doing a little bit of your role?
I think you're doing fantastic.
You look good in Olivia's chair. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry, Olivia.
She's going to come watch this I know how to go.
We miss you, Olivia. So let's talk about apprentices.
All right.
So you and I are in county. Let me ask you, okay, is it the entire state of Nevada that requires a 6-month apprenticeship?
It's not. It's just Southern Nevada.
It's Southern Nevada, so it's Clark County.
Yep.
Okay. So
I actually don't even know if it might just be just Clark County. Like, I don't think, Nye County.
Do you even do permanent makeup up there?
You do. I have a few students on prom. Can you believe that? Yeah. And I don't know if they have to have a 6-month apprenticeship or not.
They may not. Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure. And the reason that is because the county doesn't know.
Yeah, gotcha. I gotcha.
So, yeah, they should probably do one, but.
Yeah, I gotcha. Pahrump is an interesting, city or town. Is it a town or a city?
I think it's a town.
It's a town.
Yeah.
But it's cool out there. It's growing. Yeah. I mean, they're developing out there. It's really cool. Pahrump even Pahrump. I love that name. They even have a wine
Do they?
vineyard. Yeah.
Interesting.
wine
In Pahrump. They
in
grow
Pahrump.
things out. Things
Yeah,
grow?
they grow fucking wine, grapes.
Wow.
Yes, they have one, a vineyard in Pahrump. Swear to
Wow.
God. I know, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. So we're in Clark County. And so to be licensed in PMU or body tattooing, both are on the same card. It's not really a different license or different at all, according to our health department. And 6 months.
Yep.
6 months.
Yep.
So you do apprentices.
Yep.
You do the apprentices, and you
I
also do like advanced training, like
Yep.
3-day training classes,
Yep.
5-day. But you
Yep.
also do the 6 months.
Yep.
So me too. So I think that's interesting. I have never really sat down and had a conversation with somebody here in town, an artist like yourself, that does apprenticeships.
I don't know if there are a lot. Are there?
There's some. There's not a lot, and most of them, I don't. They're not great.
Well, that's what I hear. So
Yeah.
I would say a lot of the time. I would say 40 to 50% of the time, the apprentices that I have trained elsewhere
Yes.
and have said, well, I showed up to take my first client and the door was locked.
Yes.
I get that a lot.
Yes. Well, with our health department, if this is still, I think this is still true. Yes, it's 6 months, but they also list how many hours a week.
Really? Is that new?
No.
For
and
here?
Yes. So it's only really 2 hours a week
Interesting.
for 6 months.
Okay.
So if now that may have changed because our health department just came out with some new guidelines and stuff. You know, they included they changed the language to include saline removal now.
Yep.
And they added, so I think that was like about a year and a half ago. So they may have changed it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But at one time, right up until maybe they've changed it a year ago, it was, yes, 6 months, but all that's required hour-wise is like 2 hours a week. So what's that, 8 to 10 hours a month?
Yeah.
And from what I hear on the street, because, you know, I hear a lot that you get, that a lot of the places, that's all they allow, 2 hours a week to come into the studio, because that's what, that's the requirement from the health department. So when we get off here, I'm gonna look in to see if the health department did change that. So, and of course we both know that's not nearly enough time.
No.
You know, and a lot of I think some places in town, you know, they charge very, very, very little, and you know, and they would have like tons of apprentices at one time. But now the health department did change that. Now you have to have a mentorship card here in town. You can only have 5 apprentices under your card at any one time, which I think is good.
Absolutely.
I really welcome those changes, and I like those changes. So doing apprentices, brand new, they're with you 6 months, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And right now I have 4, and they all started at different times. I weave them in. I don't have like one start date and all 5 start, and then they all graduate at the same time. It's kind of like 2 will start, and then 2 months in I'll have another one. So it's kind of like
I do mine the same way.
the same way, right?
Yep.
And and I love that, because by the time like a new apprentice or a couple of apprentices come in, there's a couple of apprentices that have already been with you for 5, 6 months, and then they can kind of step up as big sister and help guide. They actually help you.
They do. Yeah. Yes.
Run the apprenticeship program and school and educate, you know, the brand new one that just started. And I think that's actually really good for that apprentice as well.
too.
It gets what you and I have just been spending months teaching them, verbalized out of their mind and vocal, and it reiterates what they know. I think it gives them confidence.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's what I have found, that they enjoy that role that they graduate into, helping us with
absolutely.
the brand new apprentices.
Yeah, it builds camaraderie too. I don't know. I didn't feel like there was a ton of support when I went to school 19 years ago. There wasn't a lot of that. It was almost the opposite.
Right.
And so I like that, because they are finding friends that they can talk to about their clients too. Like, did I do this right? You know, what would you suggest? Have you had the same experience?
Right. And grow with, you know, because as fabulous of a craft this is in a career, it's hard. There's some hard days ahead and some hard clients, and there's going to be some painful moments ahead for these newbies, right? Everybody fucks something up somewhere along the line. Yep. And you got to fix your own work.
I say that all the time. You're going to correct your own work one day, so don't say those mean things. Don't post on Instagram, corrective work, another artist. And like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because I promise you're going to correct your own work one day.
Yes. Absolutely. It happens to everybody.
Yes.
You know, you don't step out
Right.
as an amazing artist.
Yeah, no.
You might have amazing raw talent.
Yes.
You know, but I don't know anybody.
But the way you learn is through trial and error sometimes.
Through trial
That's
and
how
error
I learned a lot
sometimes,
of
yeah.
stuff because I didn't have a mentor. So it
Yeah.
was really hard.
Exactly. I think a lot of the mistakes also, and some of the pickles that you get yourself in as a young artist, is because you didn't set really strong boundaries in your procedure room.
Yep.
And with the client.
Yep.
You can get pushed into doing something you're not comfortable with, talked into doing something, or maybe
Yeah.
work on a client.
Do you know what's interesting, Taryn, is when I first went to school, you did not let other people in the room and watch. You did not take videos. You did not post
Yeah.
like raw footage doing it.
Right.
Because you didn't want anyone else to say, oh, I'm not signing up to get that
Yeah.
done. But now, isn't it so interesting that now
It's
we video everything?
360.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't let my clients bring friends, guests, you
Yeah.
know, I don't.
I say the same thing too.
Yeah. That just annoys the crap out of me. And it's always been a bad experience.
Well, I get in the zone. Like I need to be focused and
Yeah. And I don't want like her sister over here in the corner stepping up and
let's fix that
yeah,
right there.
yeah, like critiquing my drawing. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just, that annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a strict policy in our studio. I don't even let my studio artists bring in friends, let their clients bring in friends. You know, you can wait in the lobby.
Yeah.
Now, if you know, I mean, we work on clients that are blind. You know, maybe there's a language. There are exceptions, of course. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
to the rule.
Yeah.
And I do bend the rules sometimes when it comes to my areola work.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
For sure, 100%. You know,
Yeah.
but typically, no. My rule is.
Yeah. Well, I always think of my sweet little newbies. Like they don't need an audience. Like that's so stressful.
Yeah.
You know, they're already sweating and terrified,
Yeah.
and you know they don't need their client's husband to say, "Well, you should do this."
Exactly.
You know, and the husband's now a brow artist. That's my favorite.
So let me ask you this: with your apprentices, do you haze them a little? You put a little bit of a haze. You poke at them, like you haze them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I gotta tease them a little. I gotta tease them a little.
Oh yeah, I do too. I got one, Trish. I think I told you. Yeah, next Saturday we're inviting everybody down. She's doing her very first eyebrow next Saturday at 12 o'clock. Everyone.
Everybody show up.
So I've been really messing with her this week. Yeah, I mean it's like, but she's ready.
Yeah.
She's been on latex. She's ready. She's ready.
So
You know,
exciting.
so
Yeah,
exciting.
really
And
exciting.
so I'm super stoked for her. So do you have, so because we have to spend 6 months with these people, right? Do you have like a vetting process on, for me, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
For me, it's important that the next 6 months, that I enjoyed them. It's a personality that I enjoy. When I come in every day,
Absolutely.
I enjoy seeing them. I like the way they communicate. Like I like them.
Yeah.
So I have a list of questions, a big, huge survey list of questions they have to answer and submit when someone wants to apprentice here. And we go through them, and I have what I call my trigger questions. And I'm looking like why do you want to do permanent makeup? Why, if anywhere they answer money, you know, mention money at all, then
It's not the right motive.
it's not the right motive, and I I discard that application. I'm looking for, I'm looking for certain things, certain qualities. But once I decide, like, okay, I like this application. She sounds really good. Then I start doing a little emailing with them. Hey, I got your application. This is Taryn, and you know, I really like, you know, I like you mentioned this and this, and can you elaborate on this? And then if we get through like a little bit of emailing dialogue, and I still like them,
Yes.
or I still find
that's
them,
huge. Yes.
I do a Zoom.
Yeah.
I do a Zoom call
Oh,
with them.
that's brilliant. I've never done that, but that is actually brilliant.
I do a Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just did one last Saturday, because I think a Zoom, and they're super nervous, and I know that, but a Zoom, it's like you get to hear their voice. And I have other questions and talk to, and that's when I let them know how my apprenticeship works, the type of person that it's going to take to get their money's worth, and what they need out of my 6-month apprenticeship. Because some people come in thinking you're going to do everything for them, or you're going to be sitting by their side 40 hours a week and mothering them.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They have unrealistic expectations as the time we can spend with them.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I got to nip that in the bud. So have you run into that? Like, are apprentices feeling like, you know, well, I should have your more time with you? Or I think it's hard, Brittany, because
Yes, but I don't think they understand the value in feeling the pressure a little bit and executing and then going, oh, I did it. Right. It's a really like pivotal moment in their career when you back off just a little bit.
Right.
And let them do it.
You got to start cutting the apron strings
you have
and getting
to.
them independent.
Because I have like, hovered before.
Yeah.
And there's a moment to hover and there's a certain time frame where you should hover, but there's also a time where you have to say, like, you got to go, baby girl. Like, let's do this.
No, I totally get it. I think when I first started doing apprentices years ago, I was a little bit more hovering and I was a little more like, I got to spend
I was too.
I got to spend like all this time with them and now I have a little bit different of approach. Mm-hmm. So now I'm looking for, apprentices that I think they have to be a self-starter.
Very motivated.
Self-motivated.
Yes.
Because yes, we are opening our studios and welcome you in to see how we run our studios, the front desk, the business side, the marketing. They go into all the artist rooms and watch all the different artists work. I sit with them their first 2 or 3 models. But I still have a career.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
still have a career that you love.
Yep.
And we're nurturing and we're not done yet.
Right. Yeah. No.
You want to speak again at another conference,
I know.
Brittany.
Yes, I can't wait.
I know. And and you need your time. It takes
But I think there's a lot of value that sometimes I don't know if the apprentices see or understand, that they get to watch you and myself run a business as well as the skill.
As well as being focused on them.
No one taught me how to run a business. I did it really through so many heartaches.
Right.
So the fact that I can show them how my front office works, how we answer phones, how we handle clients, how we accept paperwork, how we file it, they're learning so much just by being there.
Yeah.
The fact that they get to see the way my business runs, I mean, that's a very intimate detail of my life.
Exactly.
And so, I don't know, I feel like sometimes they don't even understand that that's a gift.
No, sometimes I don't. I don't. Some people don't either.
Yeah. And then every now and then I'll have one who will not leave the front desk, right?
Yeah.
If they don't have a client, they're wanting to learn everything. They want to know how to run the business. And they get it, right?
Sometimes I have to remind my apprentices, you should walk around, go spend time at that front desk, see how we use our online scheduling, listen to how Katrina and Sarah talk to potential clients and how they're booking them, right? They're getting the procedural training because they come in, they set up our trays, they break down our trays, they cleanse the client, they apply the anesthetic, they watch, they get on latex until I'm like, book a model. Book a model. Don't let too much time.
Do you know what's funny? I have my apprentices book their first models.
Yes.
And they're almost like, you're not finding me a model? I'm like, well, how are you going to run a business if you can't get a model?
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. Do you?
I tell them they have to find their own, and I kind of push them a little bit that way until they come to me and say, I can't find one. And then I'll help them.
Yeah. That's in my contract, actually.
I do say when they sign up for class, that's one of the
that they have to find their own model.
Find your own model.
You know what? That's my sentiment exactly. Because if you can't find, actually, I just had a new apprentice start last week, and that's what I said, you're not ready to get on a model yet, but start looking, and then the whole conversation of that came up, and that's exactly what I said. If you can't find a model, how are you going to attract clients? So that's why I don't find them models, but same thing, I mean, we'll post on Facebook. We have a model bank. So
it's so easy for me to find a model for them, though, right? That kind of defeats the point.
It's easy for me too. But they have to learn that.
Yeah.
And that alone is a skill.
And putting yourself out on social media, that's hard and scary.
Yeah.
You got to go put yourself out there.
And my group right now, and they may be listening to this, Felicia, Trish, Valerie, Ari, they're not into their social media right now. And I keep, and I'm like, man, your social media, your Instagram, your Facebook, you have got to get that up and running. You got to get used to posting stories every day. You got to get that rocking and rolling.
How did you market 22 years ago, Taryn?
You know what, Brittany, you know exactly how I did it. Kat would bake cookies.
Yes.
And
that's brilliant.
She would bake cookies because she makes really good fucking cookies. And I
need a cookie. Kat, where are you?
Yeah. So, Willow, does she not? The Christmas cookies she does every year. Holy hell. Yeah, she's a really good baker.
Okay.
We'll have you and your husband over for dinner.
I would love that.
But we would go to the plastic surgeons and the dentist and the doctor's office, and I would bring cookies in and tins, and and meet, and every Christmas and meet them. I would ask, how do I get a meeting with the doctor? Buy us breakfast. Schedule
You were hustling?
I was hustling. I'd go into salons. I would, find hairdressers to let me put my work on them, and I would not charge them. And I will do you for free, and I will keep you looking beautiful. Put my cards here, and your clients get a 10% discount. I hustled.
Do you know what I tell my apprentices too? The hustle doesn't stop.
No.
Don't you feel like you're still hustling, Taryn? I'm still hustling.
If you are
like, if
Brittany,
you're going to go into this business, you have to be motivated and be a hustler.
Yes, because this is an entrepreneurial business. And a successful PMUers, a successful entrepreneur, the hustle never ever stops. You might get a little bit smarter with the hustle.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? A little bit more savvy, a little bit more strategic and smarter with the hustle, but the hustle never, ever, ever, ever stops. Because you got to constantly, you got to refresh your brand like every 5 years. You got to,
I'm still on the phone with my clients, right? Talking to them.
Yeah.
I'm still checking in on my apprentices, my students. I'm still checking up on people still. It doesn't stop.
And it's gotten harder to fill books, right? I mean, customer acquisition costs have gone up. It's not like it was a few years ago with Instagram and Facebook. It's like the ads aren't working. It's not working like it used to. Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank reminds people. I'm obsessed with Shark Tank, but he's constantly, but he has a podcast too. And he's constantly reminding people, like, man, getting customers. Man, I don't care if you're a hairdresser or what business you're in. It's like social media doesn't work the way it used to work.
No.
Getting a customer has quadrupled in pricing. So I've been telling, look, girl, artists, you need to get back on your feet. You need to hit the streets. Social media is not the only avenue of attracting clients. I mean, go out there in the community and meet your community. We just did a booth. What's it called? MILF. It was up on Charleston and like West Charleston, and it was like a little, what would you call it? It's
like a MILF market for Mother's Day.
Yeah, a little MILF market for Mother's Day. It was
so
adorable. And we set up a Girls Inc. booth, and we did little gems for them for free, and all the artists and apprentices were there.
It. I'm sure they loved it.
They loved it. And, we got some clients out of it. The apprentices got some models. And I said, even if all you get is models to come in for you to practice drawing, not even necessarily tattooing, but practice your drawing skills, it's a win.
Do you know how many times I say to my apprentices, just get someone in for a brow map?
Yeah.
Just start brow mapping. You don't even have to tattoo them. Just get them in for brow mapping.
Yeah.
It's a great, but it's a great, gateway to get them in,
it really is. And they got to start learning that from the get-go. So, you said something to me before we started the podcast, and I wanted to touch on that. And it was something the very first question you ask a potential apprentice.
I always ask them, what is your goal?
And I was surprised when you told me what their answer is almost all the time.
Yes, almost every single time they say, I want to have my own storefront, which is a great goal, right?
Yeah.
I commend them for that. That was my goal, and I love it. But it's never, I want to get a first client. I want to work on my skill set. It's never the fundamentals or the building blocks to get to the storefront.
Right. It's always, I want to go right from here to a storefront.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I think maybe the way the industry is today, with the marketing and the lure of, 6-figure incomes if you come take this training,
and it's within 6 months. You can make this kind of money.
I'm wondering if it's because of that, Brittany.
Absolutely. I think everyone's like, oh, I can make a quick buck, right? I want to start making all this money.
Yeah, and there is no quick buck.
And I always remind them, I'm like, I've been doing this 19 years. I've been doing this a long time. I didn't have storefront the first 10 years.
Yeah.
I was grinding, and I'm still grinding, but it took, there's a lot of things you have to put into place before that happens.
So I'm the kind of person, if they said that to me, answered that way in my interview, I would correct them.
Yeah.
I
do actually.
I don't know if correct is the right word, but I would probably, my response would probably be shouldn't your goal be to be really, really good at at least eyebrows before you graduate in 6 months? Understand color theory, understand this. Shouldn't that be?
Well, that's why it's funny, because it takes almost a full 6 months to even understand color theory.
Just to understand color theory. I don't promise to teach eyeliner and lips in my 6-month apprenticeship. I don't make that guarantee. I guarantee you will do a lot of eyebrows, and that's my number one focus because that's the number one request. If into the apprenticeship they're doing fantastic with brows, and I think they're ready for eyeliner and could learn that as well, then I will move them over into eyeliner. But I don't teach all three in my 6 months.
Eyeliner's serious business.
Yeah.
I do teach it all, but I would say that the focus is brows.
The focus is brows. So you you sample them on eyeliner and lips, but your focus is brows. Yeah. And I think that's okay. I mean, I like that. They watch a lot of eyeliner work. They watch a lot of lip.
Because my apprentices shadow me a lot.
Yeah.
So they are exposed to all of it.
All of it.
Even though most of them mostly stick with brows.
Yeah, 100%. Same with us. And they're exposed to all the different artists and the way all my artists work. So how many artists do we have now? We got Amy, Ren, Sophie, and Michelle. So we got 5 artists.
Awesome, yeah.
And most of them, quite a few of them I taught. And they worked a lot like me up until, they get confident and then they start adjusting things and then they come up with their own unique working. So I think it's really good that the apprentices get to go into each artist's room and watch, oh, well, man, she holds her machine like this and stretches like this. But then when I go watch Taryn or I go watch Amy, I mean, they stretch completely different. They hold their machine different. Yeah.
It's also valuable.
It's also valuable. But I think at first, sometimes they're confused. Like, which way I should hold it? I'm like, you need to figure it out. Yeah. I can't tell you which way.
Yeah. That's why it makes being a trainer just as tricky, right? That's tricky too.
Yeah. It's just as
tricky. Because you have to...
Yeah, because it's not a cookie
help
cutter.
Help them find their style.
You got to help them find their style. But I think the best way to do it is the way you and I are doing it.
Absolutely.
Is exposing them to all these different amazing artists who do everything different, either a lot different or slightly different, and they're exposed to that. And then they get on latex and they try all the different things they're seeing from the different artists and what I love most is when one of them will say, hey, T, I figured out how I'm going to hold my machine. This is how I hold my machine. And I'm like, that's fantastic. It clicks with them.
I love moments like that.
Yeah. Because our apprentices they'll mimic you, Brittany, in the way you do something, but then they'll go sit with, I don't know, maybe Rosie or one of your other artists, and then they'll start mimicking her. Yeah. Right? And then they'll maybe mimic a third artist. Yes. And then they got to figure out, it's like, okay, which one?
Yeah. Well, this felt better. I like that.
Exactly. Yep. And we all use different needles in our studio too. Like I'm not, you can use, like any artist, you can come in with any technique, any needle. Like I don't dictate, because I use a big needle, you have to use a big needle. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So they're exposed to lots of different needle configurations, movements, and lots of different things. And I just think that's so valuable. I wish I had that.
Me too.
As a young artist.
It actually makes you wonder what kind of apprentice I would have been, right? Like, would I have taken the opportunity if someone gave me an apprenticeship and showed me everything, right?
How would have it changed our careers or maybe the first 5 years of our career?
Yes, the first 5 years were so hard.
If we had a program like that, right? Yeah. First 5 years are hard.
They are. And I think it's always hard.
I think it is too. Even with really good training, even under a good mentor like yourself or me or any good, it's hard. Yep. A lot of my artists will end up staying. Yeah. So, I mean, Michonne's been with me 8 years. She's currently kind of ready to kind of get in her own studio. Amber was with me 6.5. So I got to watch them those first 5 years grow. Work out their kinks, get through some, really hard times. And you're there to help them through. Yes.
Well, how many people did you have to call your first 5 years to say,
God.
I don't know, did I do this right? Is that normal? Is this, And so that's what I love is all my apprentices have a support group. Because there are several artists who've been in the industry several years. They can call Rosie and say, is this normal? Is this okay? And we can say, we've been there. You're going to be fine. Your client's going to be fine. Keep washing them. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. And then that is the thing. You're going to be fine. Yes. Right? Just keep moving forward. But it's good to have a good support system. And you offer that with your preem program, right? Like, so at the end of 6 months, like, here's your certificate. Bye. It's been great knowing you.
I think about it every day, but
I know.
No, they can call anytime. They really can.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me happier than them going out and kicking ass. It makes me really proud. I had one lady who came through. She went through a really nasty divorce. She'd been married over 20 years, both kids off to college, and her man left her, and she had never had a paycheck ever before in her life. And I gave her first paycheck. She was able to build an incredible business. And I don't know, to me, there's nothing better than seeing an apprentice learn a new skill and it click and them thrive and then go out on their own. And it's exciting.
I think this is going to be let's wrap it up with this. Because that is probably the most important thing, attribute I think a studio owner that does apprentices like you and I needs to have. Yep. We need a studio owner that does apprentices. You need to be way okay with the fact that your apprentice, whether they leave in 6 months or they stay with you 6 or 7 years, when they do decide to go and open up their own studio, you are happy for them.
Absolutely, yes.
You welcome that. You're proud. You help them. And it is bittersweet. When Amber left.
Yeah, I've had a few artists come through my apprenticeship that stayed for a while and then left, and it's bittersweet because you're so proud of them, but you're like, dang, you're a good artist. I'd love to have you here. And you're a fun time.
Yes. And same with Michonne.
But that's the ultimate goal as
it's
the
the
trainer,
ultimate goal.
Like, you're able to now go and fly.
Exactly. And look at Amber now. She's got her own studio. She's got apprentices under her. She's thriving. She's fantastic. We go out to dinner about once every 6 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we and what's so funny is, I don't know if it's funny, but it makes me really happy. I said, tell me more, Amber. I'm so happy. I love hearing this stuff. But she'll say, T, there were days where I thought, man, I wish T did this, or, she goes, but now I feel guilty. She was like, the other day, I got so emotional. I got so upset. And I told Victor, I think I owe T an apology, because I felt some type of way about a certain something. But now that I have my own studio, I've got 4 apprentices. She goes, I get it. She goes, I don't know how you did it.
Get perspective.
You get perspective.
Yeah.
You get perspective on how hard it is to your own career, your own clients, you're speaking, if you're running classes, blah, 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 studio and apprentices, teaching them, giving everything you have to them,
working parts.
Trying to prepare so many moving parts. And you and I, no matter how good we are, no matter how much we love our apprentices and want to do right, we're not going to do everything perfectly.
Absolutely.
We're not always going to be everything every apprentice needs us to be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we're human.
We're human. So, I think that's really important. I'm really glad you brought that up. I didn't have that in my outline, but I think that's really important because I got an artist here recently, and her studio owner I have two artists. Their studio owner, it wasn't like that for them, Brittany, and they won't tell clients they're over here now.
That's too bad.
Threatening stuff, just a lot of bitterness, a lot of angst, a lot of just not happy about it. And
that's too bad. That's not how it should be. That's not how a mentor should be.
No, it's not how a mentor should be. And if that's the way you're going to be, don't mentor and don't bring in apprenticeships, apprentices. I think at some point, I think when they first come into you, because I hire studio artists, that's, and whatnot. And then we have our apprenticeship program. Yeah. So when artists come in and when they're young artists, they're all excited to be a part of your brand, Ink by Britt or Girls Ink, and they fit right into your brand, and they want to promote your brand, and they're all about your brand, right? They wear the Girls Ink logos, and they wear the Ink by Britt logos, and
so
all
exciting.
that stuff. It's so exciting, and it's a collective, right? You're all growing, not just yourselves individually, but you're growing the studio and the brand collectively, which is really fun. And they fit, and they're a part of it, and they love it. But at some point, most artists are going to outgrow your brand. Right. They're going to outgrow your brand and no longer really, they want their own colors. They want their own thing. Yep. And that should be a beautiful,
yes, absolutely,
progression, a beautiful involvement for all involved. And in many cases, it's not. The studio owner takes that you know, as, you know. Yeah.
I remember when I left one of my first places, the owner was mad, very upset with me.
Yeah. So you went through that.
Yeah. And I said, it's not personal. This has nothing to do with you.
Right.
It's time. Like,
yeah, it's time.
I need more space. I need, like, it's time. It's not personal.
No. And
but they wanted to take it very personal.
Right. Yeah. I think some do.
And it really wasn't about them.
No, but they make it about them. They make it about them. And I think it's fear.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's fear.
It's fear. It's always fear-based. It's always fear-based, you know? And that's too bad, because I think, you know, it happened to me. And my mentor did that to me, and it broke my heart. And I grieved over that and her for many years. It really fucked with me mentally and emotionally, Brittany, that she turned on me.
Yeah.
But I am an entrepreneur.
Yep.
I have been since I was like 11 years old. I have that entrepreneurial spirit. And you do as well, or you would not be where you are today. You know, and Amber did. I see it in some of my artists now. They have that entrepreneurial spirit. They're going to want their own studio one day.
And how exciting to be a part of their story,
To
right?
be a part when yes, it's like when I'm 90. They're gonna, I mean, we'll be legends. You know, they'll be talking about us. Right? We'll just be wonderful. Yeah, it's like, and I want to be that in the lives of artists. I want to be that person, or hopefully one of many people that they look back on and say, "Man,
do you know what?
She was amazing."
Yes. Do you know what I have learned through being a mentor, though, is I didn't realize that it would also be life skills.
Yeah,
that was a big surprise to me.
Right.
I didn't realize that it's not just teaching a skill and a business. Like it's a lot of life skills.
Absolutely.
Waking up, taking care of your body, showing up to the shop on time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I was really surprised by that a lot of these.
But didn't you assume that people already have that in place?
I did.
So did I, but many people don't.
No.
And they're fine. And I talk money.
Yeah, I do too.
So a lot of people, their finances are all messed up. And I talk about money.
You have to save money.
Save money.
Even if you only made $200, you still got to save some.
Exactly.
Because
I think there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but then they're not doing the right things with their money. And at some point we could end up with damaged hands, damaged necks,
I have one of my artists right now, fell off a scooter, broke her elbow. She's out
and out of work.
And
we're not going to retire with pensions and you know, and for I mean we're responsible for doing all that ourselves. And you know, Kat and I came from you know, poverty and large family, and I came from a very middle class family. And, you know, and we had you know, we and Kat and I learned the hard way with money. We made all the mistakes everybody makes, getting into debt, you know, and, you know, and we were able to, you know, correct those and learn about the value of money and where to put your money. Like, it really annoys me when people put their money just in the bank, making less than 1%. I'm like, oh, kill me
market
now.
Accounts are at 5% right now.
Yeah, market account. I mean, Vanguard. Just download the Vanguard app. But so I really like talking about finances and money with them too. And you know, and when they're ready to get into studio, make sure that you can pay for that remodel. You're not putting it on credit cards and going into debt to
I
get
did
your own
have
studio.
an artist come do a day rate at my shop one time, and she made a comment that I should have a nicer shop. And I said, well, I pay for it all myself. I'm not financing it.
Right. She actually said you have a nicer.
I should get a nicer shop. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, someone's paying your bills then, obviously, because it doesn't work like that.
Right. Well, it takes a long. You know, I was 13 years. Working in. I started out in a 99 square foot room, and you know, and then I got, and then my last room before I opened up my studio was just under 200 square feet, and just me, myself, and I in the room. I was doing my yellow light distributorship out of there. Started my store.
Awesome.
Yeah, me and Kat had our
because
products.
You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
me
and Kat had our products in our spare bedroom at our house.
Yeah.
We gutted that and made it like a little product room, and we were working all day, packing and shipping. And
the good old days.
Yeah, for first 3 years. And but it took me 13 years to get my own studio with a front desk person.
Yes.
Yeah. But now they want it so quick. They want to go from They want it so quick.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to learn between. In between, there's a big gap of stuff.
Yeah.
You have to learn. And if you don't, you know, I think
a lot of it's financial.
And a lot of it is financial. So I made sure when I moved into my studio, like, you know, I'm in a big studio now, but this was not my first studio.
Okay.
I started with a really small studio, 1,500 square feet. Yeah. You know, in this complex and much more modest. And then we moved into a bigger space because I needed it. But all the furnishings are old pieces of furniture Kat and I found.
Yeah.
Repainted, redone. And I didn't finance a damn thing or put a damn thing on a credit card. And
Good for you.
if I didn't have furniture to fit a spot, then
You waited.
I waited.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I made sure, Brittany, for me personally, it was important that if I had not one single artist working at my studio, I could pay my studio bills.
Yeah.
I didn't want that. Like, I need to have artists and earning commission from artists to be able to pay my studio bills and to be okay. I didn't want that. I felt that might not make me the best studio owner.
That's too much pressure.
It's too much pressure. You know, it's too much pressure. And then I might be placing pressure on them for performance, for this, for that, the other. And so I think that philosophy allowed me to be a better studio owner. Yeah. Not that, and I tell them this, not that money, profit is not important, because it is. We all get
it's a tool, right?
It's a tool. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So interesting.
Don't we have the greatest job in the world?
We have the greatest job in the world. I always say that we have the greatest job in the world, and we're just so lucky that we get to do it every single day.
Every time a woman comes into my shop, I'm like, I don't know, you chose me to.
Yeah. I
Tattoo
always
your
ask.
boss.
You always ask, so why me? What was it about?
I do.
Yeah.
How'd you find me?
Yeah. How'd you find me? What was it? Well, there's so many good people in town now.
Yes.
I mean, Vegas is like packed with like talent.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, why me?
Yeah.
What was it about me?
Yeah.
Was it my cuteness?
Because you're so great.
Was it my note? Yeah. What was it?
Yeah.
Was it my note? Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes just the way you looked.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes like, no, I read about you, and sometimes it's this. They have different reasons, but. That's why I think it's your online presence, your website, the pictures of yourself, the way you write on your website, your bio, you know, that's important, because, you know, people will choose you or not choose you, or sometimes according to the way you present yourself online. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's good. I agree with you. We're the industry's fantastic.
Yep.
And it's growing, and I love that it's an industry where women, not to exclude the boys, we love the boys, but it's an industry where women can come in, because in many other industries women are still fighting for equal pay and equal acknowledgement, right? In almost every single industry. Yeah. But not in this industry. Not in this industry. It's right, and I love that. I love this where anybody can walk in.
I love it.
Right, boy or girl.
Yeah.
But
I think I blow people's mind all the time. They think I'm just like a brow artist. Are you like brow artist?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like you're an entrepreneur. You have a business.
Yeah, you have a
You
business.
have artists that work
you have artists.
with you. Wow. I mean, their minds are blown when they
and
actually
do you have a
find
store?
out what I do.
Do you sell product?
I do. I sell
You
product.
do?
I have storefront.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think
So you
I've
do
got
all
independent
that.
contractors. I've got commission artists. I've got all of it, and they are.
Yeah. Our
People's minds are
businesses are
blown.
very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I'm
are.
really kind of shocked that we didn't like hook
know.
up before, meet each other.
I know. Me too.
Before.
We should have.
Yeah, we should have.
That's right. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Here we are now.
I know. That's great. It's great. All right. So I don't know. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I always try to close.
Yeah,
I meant to ask you, and I didn't ask you, but I always like to close with like a really cool like quote, like a quote, like you know, like a good quote that really gets like, oh man, I love that. Do you have one? Do you have a favorite quote?
I do have a favorite quote. Yeah.
Do you want to?
I do.
Do the honors?
I love Cher. My mom was a huge Cher fan. My mom also was raised very staunch Mormon.
Okay.
She's in her mid-70s, and she has her doctorate degree. So
her doctorate degree?
Yes, her doctorate degree.
Okay.
So she's a psychologist.
Okay.
She is
God.
Fantastic. There's not a lot of women in her.
Let me just add, how was it growing up with a psychologist for a mom?
She was always like, let's analyze that. I'm like, no, please.
The only thing I think of is I watch Big Bang.
Okay, yes, that's a great show
Leonard,
too, yes.
right, with his mom. It's like, oh my God, poor Leonard.
Yes. That is funny. Yeah, she wasn't like that. She did work a lot, so she wasn't like that. But she was great. But she was a Cher fan, and so she exposed me to Cher. And so one of my favorite quotes comes from Cher, and her mom had made a comment to Cher that she needed to settle down and marry a rich man, which was totally the opposite of my mom. My mom was not that way.
Right.
And Cher responded, "Mom, I am a rich man."
I love that.
So that's my favorite quote.
I love that, and I'm a Cher. Obsessed with Cher, and I see her lots of times a year when she's here, and she says that on stage.
Oh, does she?
Yes, she does.
I need to go see her then. I love her.
Did her mom just die, or she's still alive?
Oh, I don't know.
I think she's still alive. Her mom's
okay.
Her mom's older, like
Yeah.
like late 90s at this
Wow.
point. But she talks about her mom at every single concert. I mean, you can tell they had a great relationship, and she speaks highly of her mom, and she tells that story at every single conference. So,
That's awesome. That's
but I love
fantastic.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am a rich man. I love that.
Yep.
I love that.
I've got a sign coming right now. Actually, it'll be up on my studio hopefully soon.
I love it. All right. Well, hey, Brittany, it was awesome.
This was
The hour went
fantastic.
by quick. I think we're way beyond an hour, but
I guess we'll have to do it again.
Well, definitely have to do it again. So thank you for taking time out and coming down.
Thank you. This was great.
It was great. I love it. All right, everybody. So that was Britt Wagner, Ink by Britt. And you can find her Instagram, Ink by Britt, and check her out. Amazing. I love her. New
Woo.
friendship. Fantastic.
Great.
And stay in the pursuit of happiness, everyone. And we will see you next time.